as we travel around the country trying to see 25 states with our Airstream Basecamp. This trip is supposed to be South Dakota and North Dakota, but not everything goes to plan in more ways than one. We are at Custer State Park in South Dakota. This is just outside of Wind Cave National Park and Badlands National Park and Rapid City, South Dakota. We are going to be spending a few days here doing a couple of those things. We're going to also be exploring Custer State Park. It is beautiful so far just to drive in. It is 20 degrees cooler than it was when we stopped for lunch at Wall Drug.
If you're ever driving down 90 West, you might see several signs for Wall Drug. We've been seeing them down the highway, so we needed to make sure to stop. They were all the way back in Minnesota, so the hype has been built. It. We're planning to eat, kind of walk around, shop, stretch our legs just for a lunch break, and it's pretty hot out, so going inside is really going to be nice.
You really can find just about anything here, from your normal pharmacy things to all sorts of knickknacks to locally made sourced items. You decorate a whole home with things from this, from the Wall Drugstore.
For lunch, we both got buffalo burgers. I got mine without cheese, Amanda got hers with cheese. And for dessert, we also have a maple donut, which sounds delicious, and was the recommendation of the cashier. So, gonna give this a try.
That burger was delicious. It tastes pretty similar to a cheeseburger, but maybe the tiniest bit more gamey, and it is like a little thicker, which I know you can just change for whatever, how you're preparing it. But now we have this maple donut, which I'm not sure if I've ever even had a maple donut. They make them fresh every day. It tastes like breakfast, you know what I mean? Like
Just in a donut, all of breakfast?
Like,
Oh, because it's like bacony.
it's like mapley, like syrup, you know? Like that's what I think of, but it's really good. And then the actual like consistency of the donut is really good and fresh. And the right amount of frosting too. So it's not like too much, but you get enough in every bite. And I better save half of this for Aaron.
Oh, good.
You rip like half of it in one bite. Smelling those pines, Aaron.
Roll down the window and get a big whiff.
20 degrees cooler.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. So our campsite is near one of the lodges. It's just a couple of minutes. It does have like a little cafe and a gift shop. I bought some stuff to color with. And then all of the lakes, it seems, have rentals. So for kayaks, paddle boards, and you really can beat the heat of the day.
We decided to go on a walk from our campground. We were at Stockade Lake, which is right behind me, getting some beautiful evening light across, beautiful temperature, beautiful evening.
Well, we're gonna do one of the most exciting things that I can think of, which is riding horses. So it's about like a 3.5 hour ride, and then we do have lunch at the end. I am super excited. We used to do this every summer, and I haven't done it in years.
So I don't have the same full experience of horseback riding as Amanda, but I have spent some time on horses. We were going along the trail and all of a sudden we take the corner, and because we are in nature, there's wildlife around. And there was a massive buffalo or bison that was pretty much right next to the trail. And that meant that we could not just ride the horses right by because bison are dangerous. And so our guide, our wrangler, decided that we were going to try and go up and around. That seemed like a great plan, and at first it was, but we did run into some hurdles at the top where there was these big boulders that we decided were not great for us to go around. So as we were looking to go back down and around the other side, all of a sudden my saddle completely slid forward. And I was on the horse's neck, trying to stay up on the horse as best as I could by putting my entire strength into my arm and my legs. And that was to basically keep from flipping over and going to the ground. Our wrangler was able to jump off of her horse and come and help me kind of get the saddle back up. But at that time, I all of a sudden just was overwhelmed with like dizziness and lightheadedness. But by putting all of my strength into my arm and my legs, trying to stay up, I experienced what is called vasovagal. And it basically means all of my power, my blood, everything was rushed to this area to try and just make that work. And I experienced a ton of lightheadedness and dizziness. So I definitely needed to get off the horse, try and recoup myself a little bit, and decided that we probably shouldn't move forward, that we should not try and keep going around the bison, that this is the point, we're gonna turn around. So I decided I was going to walk with the horses for a little bit, and the wrangler decided to use the rope that she had to take my horse with her. Eventually I was able to get back up on the horse and ride back, but it did make for more of an adventure than we wanted because it was a beautiful ride. The scenery was gorgeous. We were having a wonderful time, but it just meant that this incident meant that we needed to call it, change course, and head back to the stable. So to escape the heat a little bit, we're hanging out just in the Airstream. Like Amanda said, back at the lodge, we've bought the postcards to do some coloring, having some grapes as an afternoon snack, downloading a movie on Netflix. I'm just gonna have a chill evening. So we will probably see you in the morning. When we arrived for our hike, an entire flock of birds had taken over the beach. And because it had just rained, a lot of them were airing out their wings to make sure that they could dry off and take flight.
Good morning. This morning we've woken up early to kind of beat the heat. We are at Center Lake, and then there's a trail called the Lost Trails around here. We're not staying at this lake. It's a different lake. It's on the Needles Highway, so a little bit on the higher ends of the park that weaves through to Keystone, South Dakota. So we're gonna check this trail out and then be able to rest in the heat of the day.
Okay. We've started by trying to climb to the overlook, which has some elevation gain in it. And already being at altitude means we're out of breath pretty quickly.
walking through here, there's a bunch of purple wildflowers that just add a little pop of color. We finished up Lost Trails and are having a little snack in the car. Then we're gonna head up Needles Highway to Sylvan Lake area. There's a few hikes there. Really for us, we're going to hopefully enjoy a lunch by the lake.
As we made our way through Needles Highway, the pristine sounds of nature were often interrupted by the sounds of motorcycles. In town for Sturgis. And those motorcycles, they were filling up every overlook and trailhead parking lot. Well, the lake didn't work out. It was packed full of people. Literally cars in the overflow lot, in places that specifically said do not park, on the shoulder of the road. It was just too many people. We couldn't find a spot. And so we have made our way back to the campground. Gonna eat my sandwich here. And then we'll try and do that lake probably tomorrow morning. And hope that we can beat the rush, because it was beautiful. We could tell it was beautiful. We just couldn't really find a spot to actually stop and enjoy it. Good morning. We have woken up early and gotten back up here to Sylvan Lake. Like I said yesterday, this place was packed full of people yesterday, so we are glad that we are here early this morning because there is nobody here. We're going to do a hike around the lake and enjoy some of the scenery. We're obviously on this Lake Shore trail, and we came down behind some of the big boulders that you can see from the other side, not realizing that we'd actually dropped below the surface level of the water. And there's a waterfall back behind here, just a little bit, creating a stream, but did not expect that.
It's so peaceful out here. I've never regretted waking up early, ever. Just compared to yesterday. Oh, that one has a fish. He's got a fish. See that?
Fight the darkness till break of day.
Like I said at the beginning of this trip was supposed to be South Dakota and North Dakota. But as we were getting closer to this trip, as we were on this trip, we were looking at the forecast for North Dakota and where we were supposed to go. And we were not going to a campsite that had hookups, so we were not going to have air conditioning. And we decided being in a metal tin was not what we wanted to do. especially because it is a place that we've been to before, just not with the Airstream. So we'll save that for another trip and decided to, on our way home, make some reservations at a state park outside of Omaha and add Nebraska to the list.
That'll be it for South Dakota. Add our sticker.
On our drive from South Dakota to Nebraska, we got a notification.
Hi, I was calling to see if I could cancel a reservation because the website said that the park might be closed.
Our Nebraska trip ended before it has started.
I don't know. I really don't know what to do.
Plan was to stay at a state recreation area just outside of Omaha. There's a couple state parks that we're going to explore. We are halfway through our drive day.
Apparently there were bad storms outside of Omaha last night. And I just called the state park because I went on the website and it said that it's closed, but then we haven't gotten a notification yet. So I called them and she said, I've been doing this a long time. I think we're going to have to close it because we're trying to clean it up and it's not looking good. So you should make other plans. But this was already a change in plan, so there is not a lot of options. And if it hit the whole area, like I'm struggling to know what to do here. Because the whole point is that we need hookup, at least electrical, because it's going to be so hot out.
And like we're probably too far from home to like push through and do a drive.
Yeah.
So like we need somewhere to stay tonight,
How
even
hard
if
would
that
it be to go home?
if that
Oh
doesn't
my God,
happen.
that would be
It'd
horrible.
we'd get home at 4 a.m. The drama of RVing and weather, summer weather. We'll give you an update on what the plan is in a second once we do some planning. So we're stopped at Love's having lunch, trying to figure out the plan.
That now does put us behind our plan of 25 states, but we still have some time left in the summer and this season to try and come up with another plan and see if we can still hit that goal.
So be sure to hit subscribe to find out where in the world Carmen goes next.